Hi, this is Jessica Mathis, and I will be doing my presentation on how to make your website and multimedia more 508 compliant. First, let's discuss what is Section 508. Section 508 is a part of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. These acts are a set of federal laws enacted to make sure that persons with disabilities have equal access in society. As part of the Rehabilitation Act, Section 508 ensures that persons with disabilities have equal access and use of all technology and computer services in work, school, and business settings. This law was amended by the Workforce Recruitment Agency on August 7, 1998. The law states individuals with disabilities who are members of the public seeking information or services from a federal department or agency have the right to use and access computer technology and websites just like any able-bodied person. Another thing that we must consider in the application of Section 508 is how this applies to the use of technology and multimedia. When considering how to make computer websites more accessible, you must consider the definition of accessibility. According to Kim Gunther, author of Section 508 and your website, accessibility is defined as something that is easy to approach, enter, or speak with. According to this article, the website should be barriers-free. There are many different types of disabilities. Some include physical, sensory, learning, and mental. When a web designer is striving to make their website more accessible, there are four major types of disabilities that their websites must be able to address: physical, learning, sensory, and intellectual and developmental. Um, Websites that are not 508 compliant include MySpace and Facebook. The reason that these websites are not 508 compliant is because they are not adapted for someone who has a visual or hearing impairment. In order to make these websites accessible for visual disabilities, um, a website designer must provide key and sound commands for every context element on the website. For hearing disabilities, the website designer must provide alternatives for multimedia presentations such as closed captions for uh, audio and music files. Websites that are 508 compliant are lifeseal.com and www.armstrong.edu. And although these websites are not completely 508 compliant, they are in the process of becoming 508 compliant. They have larger tags. They have alternate text imaging on the website. Um, they are they are in the process of providing closed caption and website accessibility for those who are hearing impaired. And the major part of Section 508 and multimedia is discussing why these things are important. Since the world is more technologically based, it is important that persons with disabilities be able to adequately access the web. Three major areas affected by Section 508 are business, government, and academic. In the business section, many of the business organizations, like business companies, are required to make their computers modules more accessible. As far as the physical environment, it could include just making a desk more accessible or placing your computer somewhere where a person with a disability can get access to it. Another way that you can make uh, more businesses more accessible is by providing um, accessible copy machines, print machines, and multimedia. According to Joel Schindler, the author of Access to All, Electronic Information Opens New Roads, states, when businesses make their website and technology free from barriers, people with disabilities have more access to job opportunities. One example of this mentioned by the author is Skillsoft Learning Company. This company trained their website designers to make their website more accessible. Another example of this can include government. And in the government, many of the government websites have IRS information, governmental information such as Social Security, your school information, medical records. A lot of this has been transferred to online and website access, and this is important because people with disabilities, just like anyone else, have to be able to gain access to their personal information. And another example of this can be seen when Paul Jagger, author of User-Centered Policy Evaluations of Section 508, states that persons with disabilities have a right to access personal and government information through technology and public service. This study showed that that federal policy is in the process of being implemented. There are several areas that are still not accessible. One can one case of this can be seen with a hearing impaired. And the most important reason why we use Section 508 is in the academic setting. Me personally, I use multimedia to type out my documents and to type, things that have to do with school, to do research, to do any number of things. Using multimedia and websites that are 508 compliant make it easier for people like myself to access the website. It can make it easier for people with learning disabilities to access their reading materials, or to highlight or to chunk their material. This point is further emphasized when uh, Shane Quizno, the author of Web Accessibility and the Texas Public Schools, um, shows in his article how the Texas Public Schools help the students with disabilities learn and gain access to information independently by creating a barriers-free environment and ending digital discrimination. Further emphasis on the link between how multimedia helps people with disabilities can be seen when Ann Reynolds, author of Can You Read This? Section 508 in a Kentucky school, states that making websites and technological information more accessible to people with learning disabilities can help students to feel at ease when they are learning, because multimedia and computer uses can make class material more readable. The multimedia makes it possible for the students to have their class material highlighted and read to them. Another way that multimedia can help students with learning disabilities is that it makes research easier. In my next part of the presentation, I will be talking about how to use some of these website accessibility features. Thank you and have a nice day.